What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On this show, it's our annual tradition. It is Rookie Would You Rather. We're going to talk about what would you rather have, a rookie from the class of 2025, or would you rather have a veteran already in the NFL and scoring points? And back by popular demand is my co-host. You know him better as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, buddy. Welcome back to your own show.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Here we are celebrating the first Sunday after the first full moon after the first vernal equinox. For those that celebrate that holiday, it's good to see you. More importantly, though, once again, I wear the bronze medal on the smartest people that are going to be on our show.
We have a guest. But I thought you were talking about celebrating WrestleMania Sunday. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we have a guest. Our guest tonight is an old friend. He is the video manager for Rotowire. He also hosts several of their shows. Make sure to check that out. But it's Alan Seslowsky at Alan Seslowsky on Twitter. Sometimes co-host of the Sonic Truth Dynasty podcast, but really just a guy I like to talk fantasy sports with. What's up, Alan?
I like that I'm in the middle of you two. Like, I don't know which way to look. I mean, I get a little nervous, you know?
It's a manwich.
Well, just in case mom and dad start fighting, Alan is there. It's fine.
That's right. Stop. Don't grab each other. But do you guys see the videos when you were scrolling today of all the people leaving WrestleMania? Like the crowds that get out of that stadium? It's like,
yeah.
You can't imagine, like, it's you have this great experience at WrestleMania, and then getting out, it's like, it looks like Mardi Gras. Like, you can't even move. It's whack.
Well, It had the same thing here. So in Indianapolis, they hosted the Royal Rumble, which was huge. It also had like 60,000 people. And the big thing that people were complaining about was rideshare. Like, it's next to impossible to get Ubers, and which is odd considering that these are NFL stadiums, right? Home of the Raiders, home of the Colts. They do rideshare. And in Vegas, it's even weirder. Alan, have you been to Vegas where the Raiders Stadium is?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
It's not really that far from the Strip. I mean, is it walking distance? No, I know everybody didn't stay on the Strip, but I did see that. And I saw that you had a new show on YouTube out. You had another player profiler guy. Man, Alan and the group at Rotowire putting player profiler guys on left and right. You had John Lobb on.
Oh, yeah, John. Yeah, John's great. John's always fun to have on. He's just, he's got good rookie stuff and he's passionate. So he's an easy booking guest, right?
Absolutely. And then anything else going on at Rotowire you want these fine listeners to know about before we jump right into this thing headlong?
Yeah, very quick. Rotowire has a new show on the VSiN network, the Vegas Sports and Information Network. It's a TV show. It's on, you can
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. YouTube TV right now, our guys are doing mostly baseball and, whatever is in the news that day. The whole premise of the network is like, what bets can you bring to the window that day? So I went on last week talking NFL draft bets. So I'm curious to where you guys think some of these guys are going. And I'll let you know later on when it comes up with some of the bets I made. You tell me if you think that I just burnt some money or if you think I have a chance to become rich.
Well, I think that's amazing. The show still runs, but the cast is a little bit different. When Michael Lombardi was doing the GM Shuffle on the VSiN network, that was an absolute must in my rotation of podcasts. He since went on to be the general manager of the North Carolina football team with Bill Belichick. I still listen to the show. It's not the same, but that is huge. The Vegas Sports Information Network. Yeah. I've watched that many. Maybe we'll see you on there.
Yeah, 2 to 3. We're on every day. It's Nick Whalen and Jeff Erickson, our two main hosts, but once a month I'll jump in there and I'll host a show with them. So
Jerry, do you have any starting questions for Alan before we get one ad read out of the way?
No, I was good to hear Nick Whalen's.
Not about him. The other Nick Whalen.
There's multiple Nick Whalens in this world.
As long as there's not multiple Jerry Sinclairs, because I would hate to get my ass beat by the other one, because I most certainly would.
Real quick, while we're talking about shows, and Jerry got a shout out on there. He said your name wrong. I jumped on with Scott, aka Jax Falcone from the Undroppables, and we did. He called you St. Clair as opposed to Sinclair. But you know what? I didn't correct him because it's his show and that's rude. So
It was probably just a lazy one of my ancestors anyway, who just couldn't. They were probably a hillbilly of some type. I don't know. You've been on the podcast with me. That fits.
It definitely tracks. And one thing I want to talk about is because we have the NFL draft coming up this week. Have you guys checked out Fast Draft Origins?
Mm-hmm. Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite player profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
There you go. Go start drafting faster. Now I will adjust the commercial just a hair. Rookie Origins is filled.
Yep.
It is filled, it is closed. You could have used the promo code WarZone to your heart's content. You can no longer get in, but we just opened Rookie Origins Chaos. And that's going to go on through NFL draft weekend. Not as big of a tournament field, not as big of, but you got to get in there. You got to check out Fast Draft. Use promo code WarZone. You'll get that $1 for $1 deposit match up to $50. You know the drill. Check it out. I love it. I've used it. Alan, have you used it?
Oh yeah, no, I maxed out number of drafts. I really like it. I did some turbo. I like to go in there, see the ADP. It's fascinating how the ADP moves. That's what my favorite thing is, to monitor the ADP. And hey, if I win, was it 10 grand is the first prize? If I win that, then even better.
I mean, what would Jerry? What would you buy with 10 grand if you won 10 grand? Would you buy more Lions hats, Lions hoodies?
Yeah, I mean, I went all Detroit apparently today, but
it's a vacation. It's a vacation,
right?
Yeah. The murder mitten. Well, let's get into this. I don't have a good people, bad tweets, but I do have a tweet I want to talk about. Casey Myers, again, keep continuing to put over the player profiler extended family. Casey Myers from the FF Dynasty tweeted out the other day about how silly it would be for the Cincinnati Bengals to draft a running back, but they've had like every day 2 running back in this class in for a visit. So, he was trying to be smart, trying to be a normal, rational human being, and saying it's dumb for the Cincinnati Bengals to take a running back. And I agree to an extent, but bad teams make bad decisions all the time. One of my comments back to him was, as the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted Travis Etienne exactly 1 year after James Robinson's rookie season, where he had 1,400 all-purpose yards. Bad teams make bad decisions all the time. So I'll start with Alan. Alan, where do you fall with this? Do you, like, if you're calling a guy a dynasty buy or you're calling a guy a dynasty sell, are you trying to get ahead or predict what their team could or couldn't do?
I reject the premise that drafting a running back is a bad pick just because you have one good running back on the roster, right? What happens if that guy gets hurt? Then you have, that's why I didn't like that the Patriots traded away Joe Milton, right? Like, unless you don't think he was good. It's like, what happens if your quarterback gets hurt? Now you're going to have like some Chase Daniels type of scrub in there. So yeah, I reject the premise that drafting a good player, if he's on the top of your board, is a bad pick.
No, I that's what I thought too. The problem is that we, and I'll say the collective creator space, as well as the dynasty space, we try to spin these, best case common sense narratives so that we don't feel, we feel like we're on the right side of justice. But I'm with you. Unless you have a Saquon Barkley or you have a Derrick Henry, and that might be the end of the list. Even Jahmyr Gibbs needs a running mate. Even Bijan Robinson, they leaned on Tyler Algier at times. So, Jerry, where do you weigh in on this? Do you try to outthink the room to a degree on team X needs this versus team Y does that? Anything like that with you?
No, we're just a selfish group of people. And we want to have 32 singular running backs that we know what are going to do, and so that we can use it for our benefit. And if you bring in somebody else into the fold, everybody that has Chase Brown, salty. Every single one of you going to be upset no matter what. They're going to bring somebody in because think about what Alan said. What if he gets hurt? Not even a catastrophic injury. What if he gets smoked by one of the giant human beings that's in the NFL and he has to miss a few series?
Like Isaiah Pacheco last year.
Like you're just going to pass it every single play? No, like you're not going to do that because then you don't want Jamar Chase dead, because if Jamar Chase gets hurt, then your season's really going to go fumbling away. So no, you have to have multiple for a plethora of reasons. Also, sometimes his skill set is just not going to be beneficial to that game, and they're going to want somebody with a different skill set that they can try to exploit a defense with. I'm totally cool with it. I was not really a Chase Brown guy. Bro had 1,300 yards and like 10 or 11 touchdowns last year. Jerry, you missed, buddy. And I think he is still absolutely going to get the majority of that work, and he should be a wonderful pick for you. I don't know how long it lasts long term, but we will find out.
Yeah. If this class is as deep as everyone believes it is, or, that's the consensus. That's like when you're writing the 5 headlines of the draft before we know the answers, running back is deep is going to be one of the 5 headlines. Then every team should take a running back, right? It's like quarterback in our fantasy drafts, like single quarterback leagues. Quarterback is deep. Everyone should have a good quarterback. You're drafting. There's guys available in the 6th round of this NFL draft that would normally go in the 4th round. That means there's enough for everyone, and every team, even like teams that are set, like the Jets, for example, they have Breece Hall. They have 2 running backs that hit in the late rounds. Don't be shocked if they, sign an undrafted free agent running back that everybody liked pre-draft.
And we'll go ahead and just transition. We'll put Dana White in the opening. When I go to do the podcast edit for you watching on YouTube, just download on Tuesday or Wednesday whenever this comes out, and you can hear Dana White then. But we'll just roll right into the first would you rather. How many running backs, Alan, and then Jerry, I'll come to you. How many running backs in this class would you rather have than Chase Brown? Is it 6? Is it 8? Is it 10? What's your number? Like, you look at your personal draft dynasty rookie rankings. How many of those guys would you rather have than Chase Brown, knowing what you know today a week before the draft?
So it's not necessarily a number of them, which ones I'd rather have. Any running back that goes in the 1st round of the real NFL draft, I'd rather have over him. And then that's it, right? Like if Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson go in the 2nd round, then I'd probably rather have Chase Brown. Right. I mean, that's the guy the old, he could do it. He's good. He has a role. So I would, if we get 2 running backs in the 1st round, then those 2 rookie running backs would be my answer.
What about you, Jerry? How many of these current rookies would you rather have?
I mean, it is dependent on what the NFL draft tells me. But as far as what I feel based on skill set, I think it's Amarian Hampton. I think it's Ashton Genty. I think it's Travion Henderson. I think it's probably Quinshon Judkins. Now, that said, all 4 of those guys are not going to come in and do what Chase Brown is going to do next year. So when I say that, it's also that he's working on being 25 or 26, I believe. He was a 5th round draft pick. He is not tied to a super huge contract. I don't really necessarily believe that he will, unless he can replicate sort of exactly what he did last year to sort of get that long-term stability that you want at the position, as to where these guys are much younger. They're going to cost more in draft capital, but that's going to give them a little bit longer of a leash. That's why I say that. But who is going to come in and be more productive than him next year? Maybe one of them. Right. If you want me to be honest,
it has to be his job. That's I call it the Ric Flair corollary. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, Chase Brown's the man. So any rookie that comes in, whether it's a day 2, a day 3 pick, a UDFA, it doesn't matter. They have to come in and unseat him. For me personally, it's 6. I have 6 running backs that I would rather have right now, sight unseen, than
Caleb.
Chase Brown.
Is Caleb the other one?
Oh, heck yeah. Caleb's one of them.
I think that you represent Memphis, the consensus. I think like most people would agree with you,
which is not normally my style.
Right. A good amount of people would I think less people would agree with it. But you know what? I interrupted. I want to hear what you have to say, but it's just that Omarion Hampton, right? Like what if he goes to a spot you don't like in the first round? I mean, then you're like, okay, he's still a first round running back, but man, those other guys, I mean, they would have to be in like the Breece Hall spot, like where we love the landing spot. It's the first 10 picks of the second round.
The only Omarion Hampton spot I wouldn't love for short-term gain would be like the Chargers. If he were to somehow wind up with the Chargers, because I do believe Najee Harris he's on a 1-year deal. He would be the man. He would be the speed bump that is in the way. I do believe that someone as talented as Omarion Hampton wins out. I won't even say eventually. He's going to win out at some point. But I think the one thing, and this we'll throw some draft predictions in here too. I think the one thing we're going to see with the NFL draft as it relates to the running back position is I think you're going to see about 6 or 7 guys in rounds 1 through 3, and then it's going to be cold. And then like every team is going to be like a dynasty GM, and every team in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, because like it's going to be a game of chicken. Hey, how long can I wait before the running back pool deepens? Oh, hey, you know what? I like Michelle Tootin. No, okay, he went. Okay, I'll take DJ Giddens.
Well,
no,
here,
he went.
What if you got one of these guys that you love, right? Like Jerry. What if Travion Henderson goes to New Orleans at pick 40? You gonna love him over Chase Brown? You did. In fairness, you did say you want to see where they land.
Yeah, 100%. But like, what's his role going to be there? Is he going to be Kendre Miller 2.0?
I mean, you said you like him. He's going to be.
No. Talent wise, I do, but that is a shit situation that puts me in a pickle. I think in a startup draft, I think I probably go Chase Brown in that situation. I think you're right.
Well, again, rookie rankings will fluctuate a bunch. A week from now, when we do this show, exactly 1 week from tonight, not only will we be doing this show, most of us, all of us, although us hosting and you all listening, will be doing rookie drafts. We will be neck deep in the middle of some. And by the way, I want to throw this out. I covered this on the undroppables with Jax. It's like, guys, if you're in multiple leagues, or especially if you commission multiple leagues, there is no sense of urgency that you have to get all of them done in like a week. Let's savor that a little bit.
Bring that poop attitude into the universe, Randy. I want 25 rookie drafts started next Friday.
You hit on something here, because this is like
the
most insane, like 3-4 days after the draft. Like there's those groups that like literally want to start after day 1 is over. They're like, screw it, let's start. I mean, my phone is just lighting up. Ping, ping, pick. It's impossible to like pull a trade off, because if you're in like 20 leagues, 15 leagues, 30 leagues, it's just like it's just so chaotic. In the one that I commissioned, guys, this is like I 5 years ago I would have said what an idiot strategy this is, but I do the draft. We do it July 4th weekend. We kick it off. We just let everything settle in. There's no rush. I mean, you're not going to have any information between now and July 4th. What's the hell's the rush?
And I agree with that to a degree. Like the gentleman who's the admin of our Patreon leagues, patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone, the Scotsman by way of Australia, Neil, love that guy. He is of the mindset of Jerry. How do we get 20 leagues going? Oh, and the startup all going at the exact same time. I'm like, man, can we do like 5 and then 5 more? Because it's like, I like being on the clock. We were born on the clock. I dig it, but I try to savor that a little bit. But back to the running back, you mentioned Travion Henderson going to New Orleans. That's okay. I love Alvin Kamara, but again, 1 more year. He's super expensive. Hell, he could be traded in season. For me, the draft capital matters more, and that's why I'm tying. That's why I'm tying my take of 6 running backs I'd rather have than Chase Brown to the fact that I think 6 running backs will go in day 1 or day 2.
Well, let's stick with this for a second, Memphis. What if do the 49ers have a pick in round 2? Or do they give? No, they okay.
They got a ton.
Right. What if the 49ers take Caleb Johnson at pick 43? Are you still going to want him ahead of Chase Brown, behind McCaffrey?
And like in seasonal, it would
No,
be
in
close.
Dynasty, we're talking this is the war zone.
Okay, fine. Now,
I think
does
I would
the-
actually.
do- do-
I think I would like Caleb Johnson more if he was in that situation.
Okay.
But that's just because I'm not
do the
necessarily
Bengals-
the
it's
biggest
close.
believer in the longevity of CMC.
But you
do
can see
the
that
Bengals
happening,
take a
right?
running back?
Yeah.
No, let's say the Bengals take Damian Martinez in round 5.
Then at that point, I move because I'm going right now, sight unseen. I would lean Chase Brown because I'm not a huge Damian Martinez guy.
I like him. He fights, man.
I like him for football. I don't
You
know
get what
that
I mean,
like
though,
him.
right? Like
I
he's going to
do,
be the
100%.
definite secondary guy to Chase Brown.
Well,
Yeah,
that's something that, and we can go ahead and talk about this too. You know, some of the landing spots and I covered this before too, but I try to avoid listening to a lot. I listen to some, I don't listen to a lot of other Dynasty podcasts because what I don't want to do is rip off someone else's take, and I don't want to parrot someone else's take and create an echo chamber. So I listen to a lot of non-fantasy based NFL podcasts, and there is real talk that the 49ers will take a running back in this class, even though they've got, what's Garindo's first name? Is it Isaiah or Isaac? Isaac. I knew it started with an I. So Isaac Garindo and then Christian McCaffrey. That's a team that's going, I think that team's a wild card. I've seen where they could take either Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland in the first round because George Kittle's 32, last year of his contract. I think we're going to have a lot of interesting scenarios, Alan, starting Thursday night. Now, I have my first actual on the show sheet, Would You Rather? But before we do, what are you guys doing for draft night over at Rotowire?
So Rotowire will have some live stuff going on on our social media channels, but we've sent a couple guys down to the draft this year. So we're going to have some boots on the ground. And as you know, Rotowire is primarily a news company. Obviously, we have rankings, all that other kind of stuff. But so we'll have our news feed going, which is on Twitter. But this year, the guys on the ground. So let's say Ashton Genty gets drafted, right? So a note's going to go out like on Rotowire, Twitter thing, and then we're going to have the guys on the ground do like a video. So we're going to like edit those videos, get them up quick. So we're going to be putting out video notes, quick takes, not just like with our guys on the ground, but they'll be interviewing people in the crowd. I think they're going to have a few media personalities on. So we'll be busy live streaming, doing all that kind of stuff. How about you guys? What's your plan for the evening?
Well, I am going to be jumping on Friday night. Friday night going to be, because I was at the draft house last year. It's going to be super crazy. Yeah. And those guys will be live streaming right there from the Player Profiler Draft House. I'm going to jump on from like 9 to 11 on Friday night with the gang. So
did you get a bed last year when you were there? Were you able to sleep in an actual bed?
No, and actually people made fun of me because I'm old, and like I go to bed at a reasonable time, and we're up trying to give Dynasty takes at like 1:30 a.m. and it was.
So where'd you sleep?
Dude, the house Matt got last year was amazing. He treated us better than we deserve. So it was easy. Everybody had their own bed. So
so you did have a bed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's a man of many mysteries. All right. Speaking of mysteries, the quarterbacks in this class. So Alan, I'm going to hit you first. Would you rather have the nice, safe Bo Nix or any quarterback in this class of your choosing? We'll just get quarterback out of the way. Not a great quarterback class. We've all said that. It's an okay quarterback class. Would you take Bo Nix with what you saw last year? I think he was QB9 for the entire season. And would you rather have him or any rookie quarterback in this class?
So, and I want to bring Jerry in on my answer here, right? So I think this really comes down to like, would you trade Bo Nix for the 102, right? Like that's really, and the answer is no, right? You want Bo Nix, right? You're like, so, because the 102, you could draft Cam Ward. And what's the best thing Cam Ward has going for him is that he's the 101 in the real NFL draft, which comes with special insulation. But I think that Bo Nix he's already earned that similar insulation, right? Like he could have 3 bad games in a row. They're not benching him, right? They're going to ride through that. So I think at this point, if Bo Nix was in this draft, like the guy we know, the 25-year-old, he has one season under his belt, and we threw him in with all these rookies, he would be the 102 in this draft.
And real quick before I throw it to Jerry, Bo Nix actually finished as QB7 last year, just behind Jared Goff, just ahead of Jalen Hurts. Not necessarily fair with Jalen Hurts because he didn't play the last game of the season because Philly had everything locked up they could. So, points is points, and Goff was Nix was a bit of a garbage time special. Same question.
Nix's circle of trust, right, guys?
Well, I think he's going to be better because they're going to add a running back. They're going to add a wide receiver. I mean, I don't know that you can go much higher than QB7 on a season for Bo Nix, given that, he's not, he runs, but he's not super mobile. But QB7's good, but man, he did it with basically Cortland Sutton and a little Marvin Mims. And now we're going to add potentially more weapons. They added Evan Ingram. They still have Cortland Sutton. Marvin Mims brings the speed. Maybe they draft another running back. They draft another wide receiver. The tools around him could get better, but I'll throw it to you, Jerry. Where are you at on this?
Not even close. Bo Nix. I honestly, not even worth a discussion, if you want me to be honest. You have to be a very big proponent of Cam Ward or any of these quarterbacks to suggest otherwise. We're talking about Bo Nix, who came in through damn near 30 touchdowns, winning record in the NFL, and I'm going to take it.
Playoffs. Don't forget talking about playoffs.
Yeah, but playoffs over Cam Ward, who has been good. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, we saw Bo Nix in the SEC struggled a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but then he actually got into an offense that was conducive in Oregon, exploded everywhere, and then got into the NFL. You've seen the maturity. You've seen somebody with tons of experience with Cam, which Cam Ward also does have. I don't know.
Jerry, let me ask you this. You're in a rookie dynasty superflex draft,
yep,
and the guy wants Bo Nix from you, and I'm offering you pick 103 and 104 for him.
Yeah, I'm taking that.
Okay, but I mean that's going to be Cam Ward and a receiver.
True.
Or another running back, the third running back.
But I'm fine with that. So that brings up the question that how much less is Cam Ward to Bo Nix, and is it the 104? And I would argue that yes, just because I can get the extra value. Yes, I'm going to take a hit, I believe, at quarterback. I will not rule out any possibility. There's a chance Cam Ward comes in. He is absolutely majestic and he's wonderful and he's QB1 overall. Challenges Lamar Jackson. It's not a non-zero possibility. Right. But I don't believe that entirely. So I just think that 104 gap, that's pretty easy for me.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to pull these guys. The comp that I like for Cam Ward, and had Jerry been on his own podcast, he would have heard this last week with Dan Williamson and I, is Steve McNair. I think we have Matt in the chat. Matt is one of our patrons.
Steve McNair now or Steve McNair? No.
Well, hopefully he plays better than.
Good God.
That's morbid, but okay. But no, Steve McNair. But his comp, Matt's comp in the chat was EJ Manuel. I think that's the range of outcomes, though.
That's Steve
McNair is still better than EJ Manuel.
See how you brought it all back, but I'm with you guys. I like Shedeur Sanders. I think best case scenario is Bo Nix, and because neither one of these guys run a ton, it's like, what are you hoping for? It's the same thing. I'm getting ready to hit you guys with the easy one, but it's like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward could be anything, even the QB7 on the season, which Bo Nix was as a rookie. So give me the bird in the hand. Give me the guy who's not going to cost you QB1 startup prices, but it's going to give you potential of QB1 performance on a season. I feel that that's a slam dunk in a super flex.
Yeah, if you look at the keep trade cut, which is supposed to be a consensus market rankings, Jerry, they have Bo Nix at QB 11 and Memphis. Do you want to take a guess what Cam Ward sits at right now?
QB 14.
You want to take a guess, Jerry?
16.
19. That's lower than I would.
I'm fine with that, though. I mean, I think we're just around too many dynasty folks, and we eat the hype a little bit more.
Right. But I mean, here's the guys. The 3-4 guys they have over Ward right now is Penix, fine. Trevor Lawrence, there's some interesting upside there.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield proved it over and over again, and then Brock Purdy's the one where you're like, All right. Well, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, I could see all that.
It's going to be interesting, but I feel super bad for people. It's like, hey, I had a horrible season. I need a quarterback. I've got the 102 or I've got the 103. You really don't have a choice. You have to get a quarterback. If you don't have quarterbacks in superflex, you're cooked. It is not a good spot to be in. But I want to get to the big one. This is the big one. Someone posted this on Twitter. I don't remember who it was. They were like, price check. Ashton Genty or Bijan Robinson. I will tell you what my response was to that, and then I will make that the next would you rather. Would you rather have Ashton Genty or Bijan Robinson? And I retweeted this fellow's tweet, and I said, that's not a price check. You need a reality check. If you're taking Ashton Genty over Bijan Robinson, you are doing it backwards. You've got the thing. Not only is Bijan Robinson really, really, really good, but we already know his spot, and he's getting a quarterback upgrade. At least we think it's an upgrade in 2025. So for me, it's a slam dunk at Bijan Robinson. Alan, what about you? You Bijan there, or am I off base and you're going Genty?
I mean, if you look at like most consensus ranking guys, like they're back to back. Obviously, Bijan's ahead of him. You would take him there. We've talked. I mean, you're going to hear this theme over and over again. Is that the proven veteran? If there's not too much of an age gap. I mean, Bijan is basically 23 years old. They took him in the top, what was he, pick 7, or he was in the top 10 of the real NFL draft. He's a lock to get a second contract, right? So, and he's more than just a running back. He's like an offensive weapon for him. So, yeah, Bijan, I mean, I don't think I need to persuade anyone here.
Jerry?
No, Bijan. Not close.
Let me make it a little bit tougher.
Not close? It's not close?
I really don't think it is.
Not for 2 years of age. I agree.
Okay.
I mean, like, what
would it be?
He would have to come into a great situation. Also, just with his size and the pedigree that he played football at, he's sort of an outlier as it is. That's just it's a tough sell.
So,
when I say not close, I don't mean like they are vastly different. I mean like in my head, snap reaction.
Right.
Out of 100 times, I'm taking Bijan Robinson, probably 99 of it.
So then what's the ties that together? What if somebody said, all right, give me Bijan, I'll give you my 101 so you can go take Ashton Genty, but I also have the 112.
Oh, I was getting ready to say, if you have the 101, you probably have the 201.
Well, okay, fine. The 201. Same thing, right?
It's a very likely scenario. Yeah,
so
I would entertain
guys?
that. Well, especially if you're in a 1 QB league or even a superflex.
Superflex here, superflex.
And like you need, like, because if you have the 101, you probably have a bad team. And if you have a bad team, you don't need a running back like Bijan Robinson. You need a running back, but you can get a guy that we think is equally close, and you can add another piece that's going to help turn this dumpster fire of the 101 drafting team around. So I think in that case, I think that's more than fair. I would take the 101 and the 201, given my situation's probably bleak. Jerry?
It's close. It would depend on my team, but somewhere in that range for sure.
Right. All right. Well, let me just add another player because on using player profiler rankings, startup rankings, QB1. Now this is their QB1. Would you rather have Jahmyr Gibbs? You're wearing a Lion shirt, but would you rather have Jahmyr Gibbs knowing that Ben Johnson's no longer calling the plays, or would you rather have Ashton Genty? The age gap is exactly 2 years.
Jahmyr Gibbs for me. I just think he's a better player. I think he can do more. I've seen it in the NFL. He looks like he is everything that Reggie Bush was at USC. Jahmyr Gibbs is in the NFL.
Wow,
I don't think the Lions' offense is going to take that big of a step back. We still have a lot of continuity. I know Ben Johnson is gone, but just about everything else is still in place. So Jahmyr.
I think. Yeah, those are, again, Jerry actually nailed it in the beginning when he said it's not even close. Like, these are easy calls. Like, if you talk about like elite running backs with age, that's really where the dynasty conversation comes in. It's like Saquon Barkley or the 101, right? Like, you're ready to win right now, but somehow you acquired the 101. It's somebody you can get Barkley for him who's age 28 but has 2 more guaranteed years. That's the real conversation here, guys. How would you play that?
So let's pivot then. Hold on. Let's pivot. Alan, Breece Hall or Ashton Genty?
Genty. I don't like Breece Hall anymore.
Okay, fair.
Well, yeah, I'm with Alan on this. The only two guys that I'm taking over Genty are Bijan and Gibbs. And I agree with you, Jerry, on the Gibbs take. Is like, I don't think the two running back system was as much Ben Johnson as it was Dan Campbell, because Dan Campbell saw it in New Orleans with Kamara and Mark Ingram. So this was not a new concept, and I think you'll continue to see that concept. There is some continuity with play calling, but I agree. But Ashton Genty is that good. But I do want to make these more difficult for you guys.
But
All
you don't
right?
think the Barkley
That's
one
rude.
is like, you think that's an easy smash on the Genty side?
It's Genty
For Barkley? Oh, it's Genty.
And now, if I'm contending and somehow I made a trade where I have the 101, and someone will give me, Barkley and some other
Something.
considerations, then I
It's
would.
a very specific situation.
Yeah,
though.
it's going to be. But I love Barkley. Barkley's going to continue to eat for 2 years. If a team.
Barkley,
maybe,
and Chris
maybe he
Godwin
gets
or
fat.
something.
Yeah, he got his ring. Maybe he gets fat. He relaxes a little bit.
Doesn't seem like Barkley.
I
though,
know,
right?
no, I know.
Well, luckily it's a running back. Like, we've seen guys like Andrew Luck. We've seen guys like Patrick Willis, Calvin Johnson. They've retired early because in a very short amount of time, they made life-changing money. And not that running backs don't make good money, but comparative to other positions, they don't make quarterback money or even wide receiver money. Let's make this a little bit more difficult. I will go. Would you rather have Omarion Hampton? No, this is in a vacuum. If you want to add some disclaimers, would you rather have Omarion Hampton at 22.1 years old, or Allen's guy Saquon Barkley at 28.2 years old? So a full 6 years, a lot less miles. Jerry, who are you taking, Hampton or Barkley?
Assuming that I am taking Omarion Hampton sometime between 102 and 104-ish, I would guess is probably as late as he's going to go. I think I probably have not a great team. Maybe Saquon was the only person on that team. I think I'm going to take Omarion Hampton just because of the age, but also I think there's an argument that Omarion Hampton is the best running back in this class. And I don't want to just eat up steam because we've all talked about Ashton Genty for so long and he's another body, so we just have to talk devil's advocate. But he is highly talented and he's unbelievably fun to watch, and he played in the ACC, not in the WAC or wherever Boise State plays. There's a chance, and he's a great pass catcher. Like there's a real chance that he won't be the 101 in a lot of drafts, and this time 365 days from now we'll go, we probably should have done that. We should have seen the writing on the wall. We drank a little too much Kool-Aid. So Hampton.
Yeah. I mean, I by the way, I think Memphis may have froze up a little bit, but you there,
Mountain
Memphis?
West. Thank you, JP. I'm bozo.
I think it's my internet more than.
Yeah, it's yours.
Net
Because
more-
Jerry
more
looks
than
clear to me. Jerry looks handsome.
Yeah,
to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys go
yeah,
ahead for a second.
Yeah, no. So Barkley, by consent, like early startup ADP, Jerry, he's running back 4, whereas Hampton is running back 8. But you know what's interesting is that Hampton is going to move, right? He's not going to stay at 8. If he goes to a spot people like, he will jump Barkley in the startup ADP. He'll be running back 4. Now, if he goes to a place that nobody likes, he'll probably fall a spot below like Jonathan Taylor and maybe even like, a second round. So that's a good question there. So if you have a first round running back that goes to a spot we don't like versus an early second round running back that goes to a spot we do like, how do you think the dynasty market will value those guys?
No, I think you're right. That's the problem with trying to do this show 4 days before the NFL draft instead of a couple days after the NFL draft, because it will dictate tremendously. I can say that I like Omarion Hampton, and 365 days from now, I think there's a chance he's the 101. There's also the chance that he's just not relevant. And I know that hurts a lot of people's feelings to hear, but if you've played this game for any stretch of time, you have fallen in love with a prospect and they have pooped their pants. And you have been stuck holding that diaper, and you've got nothing from it. There's a lot of people. Treylon Burks. Like we could do a lot of these, and we laugh about these players now, but at the time, these were prospects that we loved, and just like the Omarion Hamptons and the Travion Hendersons and the Tet McMillans of the world.
Yeah. Who was the wide receiver? N'Keal Harry. That's the one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
There was always weird vibes about him, though, right? Like,
that's true.
There was something going on. Like, he was being pushed up to the 101 in a lot of drafts, and it never felt right. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think everybody learned like a dynasty lesson from that because he was running back 4 or 5 before the draft and then vaults up to number 1 because of situation. So do you think it's possible that we overvalue a good situation a little bit?
100%. And that will absolutely happen at some point in this draft with somebody. I mean, I was that person because I watched Clyde Edwards-Helaire and I thought, that's Theo Riddick.
Right.
And then he ended up in Kansas City in the first round, and I drafted him at 103.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, bud? And you know what I got out of that? Nothing. I got like a RB3 his rookie year, and then a whole bunch of nothing. I probably had an early rookie pick the next year. So I guess thank you for that. That was very nice of you.
Yeah. There was a couple you could get out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, for 90 cents on the dollar a couple times. I remember even like the following year, like if someone had like the 110, like they would have traded you that for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the vibes, it's sometimes we just want to wait and see, especially if we went all in on a guy. It's very interesting how that happens. I mean, I wouldn't, before Memphis comes back also, like this show is vet versus rookie. I mean, who's your favorite rookie wide receiver? Because then I'll start giving you the list of vets that we can see who we'd like better. Is Tet your guy?
Tet is probably my guy, but I'm also skeptical. Like I've said it numerous times that I think Tet McMillan is sort of Cortland Sutton, and a 22-year-old version of Cortland Sutton is fine, and I'm fine to add him on my team. Do I think he is going to be the cornerstone piece that I need to win a championship trophy or win some money? I don't. So it's tough. How do you feel about him is the question. And what, like, are we talking Tet McMillan versus Garrett Wilson versus Chris Olave? Like, how low are you going?
Like,
or how high are you going? I guess I should ask.
Like Tet McMillan is fine. Like you said, like he'll be, if it works out, he's T. Higgins, right? Like, if he ends up with a good quarterback, maybe he's the opposite of another good wide receiver. What happens if he ends up in Carolina and he's with Bryce Young? The market's not going to like him. I mean, in Dynasty, he'll still go where he goes. He'll go pick 5-ish, right? But where would the redrafters take him? Round 5? If he's with Bryce,
it's tough, man. It's tough. We play a mean game, but let's talk tight ends. Where are you at with them? And sort of like, are you a Tyler Warren guy, Colston Loveland? Do you got somebody else sneaky that's sort of your top guy?
I mean, tight end is it's so tough, right? Because I mean, last year and the last 2 years with Brock Bowers and with Sam Laporta, like, there was a case
screwed everybody's brain up,
right? But it makes sense that because the guys are the way the college and the NFL have kind of merged, but people were pushing each other out of the way for Dalton Kincaid. Remember that? Like, that hasn't worked out. So I guess there's one theory of the case that says you draft Tyler Warren he goes to the Jets, and all of a sudden you're like, do I have OJ Howard here, or do I have one of those guys that ends up being like, a must-have in fantasy? So I don't know. Everyone seems to like Tyler Warren. He's already tight end 4 in the consensus rankings, which blows my mind. He's a little bit more, but was he about 24 years old? So he's not like 20. We don't have to like wait for him to like what he is what he's going to be. I'm sure he'll get better as he goes along. But remember, like David Njoku, he comes into the NFL. He's
like 17 years old. Yeah, wild.
Right. So I mean, if Loveland and Tyler Warren, I mean, I'll be interested in them in our premium leagues, but probably I would have to not like the options on the board to pick 10 or 11.
Let's say it is a premium league, and let's like what range are you willing to take a tight end? I know that's not exactly the topic of the show, but I am a pretty vocal hater of tight ends, and to where I just generally don't pick them super early in rookie drafts. And often it has been good to me. The last 2 years, not so much, but like, are you
There he is.
107-ish? Are you
No,
talking
no.
110-ish,
Yeah,
201-ish? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And it would have to be, we were just got into a tight end discussion tangent, Memphis, but
Oh,
yeah,
I was listening because I was watching on YouTube on my phone while running upstairs to restart my router. I don't know why my internet just conked out. Of all
Luckily,
the time,
you're in good shape. If I ran upstairs, I'd be winded right now.
Yeah. How did we do? Did we keep the show moving?
You guys would be doing good. But I switched off as I was jumping back on. I didn't hear Alan. Are you a Loveland guy or are you a Warren guy?
I mean, I'll like both of them if they go in the first round. I didn't, see anything that was like, I know everyone loves Tyler Warren. He's a top 4 tight end in Dynasty. And, there's better tape watchers than I am. If he goes to a spot I like and I need a tight end, but like, it really comes down to like what Jerry just asked me. Like, are you going to take him over, Quinshon Judkins if he goes to he's a Cleveland Brown? No, I'm going to play the tight end roulette wheel. I'm going to try to, work it with Evan Ingram and, George Kittle and, even like a Mark Andrews who seems to be, nobody likes him anymore.
I'm all for taking tight end early if you need one. Now, Jerry, I had this epiphany the other day. I don't know where it came from, and you will not like me praising Jim Harbaugh. I have been getting all off season, I've said this several times, I'm getting Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts vibes from Colston Loveland. But you know what? And I like blocking tight ends. That's why I like Trey McBride. That's why I like George Kittle. Sam Laporta mixes it up. But you know what? You probably can't play ball for Jim Harbaugh if you can't block. So if you can play ball for Jim Harbaugh, you can probably play the brand of tight end that will be successful in the NFL. So I've come around, Alan. I've come around on. Now I know you did several podcasts with Theo. He's always been a get tight end early, get him off, and he kept doing this. He's like, you got to get Kyle Pitts, and you got to get Dalton Kincaid. You know what? He was right. He got this one right. He got Brock Bowers this year. But well, I'm with you.
If you keep just saying the same damn thing, you're going to get it right once.
Well, it's why the Native American rain dance works. You just keep dancing until it rains, baby. That's Theo. You just keep taking tight end super high until you hit on one. That's the move.
Yeah. Warren's going to be a good player, right, guys? It's Loveland's the real question because he's the upside pick if he goes in the first round.
There are spots. It's like, well, I mentioned the one earlier. What if Tyler Warren goes to
Jets?
What if he goes to? Yeah, I mean, I just keep seeing him going higher and higher and higher in mock drafts because, like, as a Colts fan, early in like February, March, I was seeing a lot of Tyler Warren to the Colts. Okay. And then over the last 3 or so weeks, it's like now he's going 112 to the Cowboys. And I was like, that's not a bad running mate. It hurts Jake Ferguson. And then I saw him 110 to the Bears. Yeah. Now I'm seeing him 107 to the Jets. So out of those spots, which would you prefer, Alan, for Warren?
Man, with Justin, I'd like if the Jets took him, I would like it for real football, but not for fantasy. I think the Bears thing, I love the whole Ben Johnson setup there, and Cole Kmet doesn't scare me as like a player that's going to push him out of the way.
Better learn how to speak blocking, buddy, because you're now the official, blocking type. What about you, Jerry? Is there a landing spot you love for him?
100% got to be the Bears. I'm with you, Alan. The question, like, where are we at with this guy? Alan, you said he was tight end 4 in ADP, which wild.
That's startup ADP, by the way.
That's where I have him, by the way.
Overall?
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather have?
Kittle and Hawk. I'd rather have.
I mean, David Njoku potentially too.
I'll listen to Hawkinson because I do believe Hawkinson's a buy because obviously the first year coming off of the knee injury, never great for anybody. This is going to be the second year removed. I'm a little nervous about what J.J. McCarthy looks like there. And then George Kittle's 32 years old in the last year of his deal. He's often banged up. It's Bowers, McBride, Laporta. I'll gamble on a Tyler Warren and then try to go back. And this is a startup conversation, not a rookie draft. And then I'll try to come back later and layer in a Hunter Henry, someone like that, someone that can bridge the gap until that's a spot. I don't think you'll get the Warren or the Loveland. I think the move tight end in that New England offense is going to be really interesting this year. If they were to draft Elijah Arroyo or a Harold Fanning or even a Terrence Turd Ferguson, not to be confused with the Cowboys' Jake Turd Ferguson. So Jerry, but you find Warren being that highly valued egregious?
It's not that I find it egregious. You're putting a lot of stock into the fact that a tight end has to be very good as a rookie to return value on that. Like, if we see this man get 440 yards receiving next year, after we saw Brock Bowers explode, the year before we saw Sam Laporta explode, after we've gone boom, megastar, and then we hit that, everyone's going to hate him and his value is going to tank. And that's just based on the recent bias that we all have because of that. And 440 yards for a tight end sounds terrible, right? Because we're used to talking about running back and wide receiver numbers. That's like Isaiah Likely, right? Like, I mean, granted, Isaiah Likely is going to be much further down this list, but it's not like terrible. People definitely played Isaiah Likely. That's Kyle Pitts. I mean, had like 600 yards, but like, it's going to take a little bit of time. You're just putting a lot of stock in immediate production at a position that just usually does not occur in. Yes, NCAA football is changing and we are seeing it a little bit more. It's a very risky play for a situation that has a vast outcome.
What about you, Alan? Where do you put him on the Seslowsky meter?
I would have him 5 or 6, but 4 is a perfectly good ranking because like you could see the case. It's fine, but it's not about where you rank him in tight ends in the tight end ranking. Cause that's, 4, 5, 6, who gives a crap, right? It's when you're on the clock and Tyler Warren's there and he's the next guy up to be picked at tight end. And you're like, do I want him or Kenneth Walker? Do I want him or Zay Flowers or Chris Olave or Jalen Waddle? It's the cross positional when you're in a startup that if you want Warren, that's where you have to take him and you're passing on these depressed wide receivers, the wide receivers that are still young, 24, 25 years old, but just had a down year. And that's mainly like the Waddles, Olaves. You can get Christian McCaffrey in a startup at that point. At the same point, you're taking Tyler Warren. And if I was to say to you guys straight up, who's going to have more fantasy points over the next 2 years? Is it Warren or is it Christian McCaffrey?
Not a single human being on the planet is. I mean, to bring back Steve McNair would even say CMC.
Yep. There you go. Now he would say that.
All right. The whole internet thing, I've lost my show sheet, but is there any other rookie? I heard you guys talking Tet McMillan.
Yeah. Is wide receiver vets versus the wide receiver 1 rookie, because that's the theme of the show, right? Like we're trying to figure that part of it out.
What's your line in the Allen rankings? What's the line where you work Tet McMillan in there? We know what's the breaking point.
All right. Just first and foremost, Travis Hunter is wide receiver 1 in this class, right? Like if you are treating him as a cornerback, there you go. Like you should take, it's okay to take him at 102 in your dynasty rookie drafts, right? Like even if we don't know, because Travis Hunter, if he gets picked, and I know you asked about Tet McMillan, he'd be my wide receiver 2, right? I think that's, kind of where he would be. But it's, even if it doesn't work out, right? Like for the first month, there's a Travis Hunter, like they could be like, all right, let's start sprinkling him in week 5. And by week 8, he could be in the Jamar Chase arc, right? Like it could be going there. He has that upside. None of these other guys, Jerry had said, Tet McMillan's more like a double. He's like a guy you're just going to be happy to put in your lineup. You get him in round 6 and redraft next year. But Travis Hunter has a chance, if all goes well, to be in that like big 3.
Let me throw a little note that Scott and I shared on his podcast, because this was mine. It's the average NFL game has about 70 snaps. Total plays is about 70. What if he wants to play both sides of the ball? What if he plays 25 on both sides? So now he's going to play 25 offensive snaps. and he gets 6-8 targets a game. It's not that he's not super talented, but I think that because of the way I believe he'll be used in the NFL, we already hear about the rookie wall anyway, these young guys coming from college. I'm thinking, and it's not like that he's not better than or worse than, but I think from a fantasy production, you're hoping to get like a Devonta Smith.
Yeah, once the genie's out of the bottle, though, man, and they see that he's making these Jamar Chase type of splash plays, like that's it. Like you can't go back once that happens.
Well, for me, because currently I moved him up. Jerry will tell you I've been very trepidatious because I wasn't sure. And I had him at my wide receiver 8 until the comments of the other day. And now I've moved him up to 3. I think 3 is fair.
Who's 2?
McMillan is 2. Burden is 1.
Oh,
Burden
okay.
is my 1. I mean, when you ask me, how do wide receivers win in 2025? The way Luther Burden plays the game.
Fair.
And he's getting ready to get the best quarterback, regardless of who it is, that he's ever played with in his entire career.
They're so rare you get a chance to get the upside of a wide receiver to be an elite guy. I don't know, Jerry, where are you at, man? Like, what's the pick you're okay taking Travis Hunter in these super flex drafts?
2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's an argument for 1 also. And I know I brought that up with Omari and Hampton earlier, but Travis Hunter is the best offensive player in this draft. I don't know who needs to hear it. I don't know what mountain I need to scream it from. Yes, Randy, I agree with you. I am worried that maybe my man gets a little bit tired. And maybe because he's playing all those snaps, he's at a higher risk for injury. I don't really care because like Alan said, right? What's it going to take? Because what's going to happen the moment Travis Hunter gets drafted? Everybody's buying a Travis Hunter jersey in that city. And what happens when he makes that one big play? Everybody's going to want to watch it. And then what are you going to do? You're going to sit him down?
Yeah, there's no way.
Like not a shot because brother wants his job and he's clearly talented enough to make those things. So Travis Hunter, real chance. Once again, 365 days from now, we could be talking and going, why the fuck didn't we take him at 101?
Now, Alan, you've podcasted a bunch with the Podfather, a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he'll break out props. I need some rose-colored glasses to break out. I'm going to say, I'm putting on the rose-colored glasses. How about this? And I don't mean, I think it was Alec Ayomanor who burnt him a couple of times in the game against Stanford. Here's a real thing. What if he comes in the NFL and he's not a great cover corner?
Yeah.
I mean, he's only ever covered, what is it, Big 12 wide receivers? It's not like he's dominated the best of the best at the wide receiver position, the guys in the SEC, the guys in the Big 10. There's a real chance where not only does he play wide receiver, but that's where he flourishes and winds up playing a lot less defensive back. Is that the rose-colored glasses scenario, Alan?
All of the Todd McShay types have said that he's already, and again, if you trust in those type of guys, either you do, you don't. They seem to be somewhat credible, right? That they all say he's much further along as a wide receiver today than he is a cornerback. I just think there's like zero. I don't know. I'm like 95% sure. Just, I have 2 eyes. I watch football. I pay attention to the process. I don't watch film. I don't get into the crazy data stuff. It's just so obvious that like he's an outlier. And then that's how you win fantasy football, betting on outliers, right? You should have bet on Devon Achane, even though he was undersized and this and that. Like betting on outliers, not with your whole strategy, but when you have a chance to like win it all, right? It's like, I make the comparison, like you guys play NFL Survivor, right? Where you pick one team a week now.
My absolute it's my absolute favorite way to do season-long gambling on the NFL.
There you go. So here's like I just talk about taking the upside swing. If there was 100 people in your pool and there was a 10-point favorite and all 99 people took the 10-point favorite, you're going to take the outlier, the underdog, because it's not like that you're likely to hit, but if it does, you win the whole damn thing. And now Travis Hunter is, if you pick him at 102, like Jerry suggested there, and it hits, you win the league. You win, I mean, it's everything. It's getting, try to go trade for Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson in your league. Go tell me what that costs. It doesn't cost 102 in your rookie draft.
All right. Well, you brought up Vegas, and we can keep this going, but I always shoot for an hour, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. But you mentioned some gambling. What we're ready to talk about the rookie draft from a gambling perspective. What are you seeing out there in the market that has you intrigued? Are you seeing some pitfalls and some opportunities?
Yeah, I'll give you the two bets I made. I took Matthew Golden at plus 150 to be the first wide receiver off the board. I don't feel as strong as I did when I made the bet about a month ago as I do today. It was plus 150. Dallas was basically saying they wanted to take him. So, wide receivers about fit. If Tet McMillan does fall, there's a chance, speed rises. John Ross, Henry Ruggs, those guys shouldn't have been the first wide receiver, but they were because they had the combine speed. So I thought at plus 150, it was a reasonable bet. And the other bet I took was plus 700 Ashton Genty to go to the Jaguars at 5. If there was a talk that Matthew Berry had said that the Jaguars had him as the third best player in this draft. If he's the best player on their board, why wouldn't they take him there?
I would not be surprised at all. Jerry, what's the meltdown on social media Thursday night? Because the team
is the logic okay though? Is the logic fair?
The logic makes sense for sure.
I mean, ETN's in the 5th-year option. They could easily trade him.
They declined it. They declined his 5th year. Yeah, he's not. They're not even taking the 5th year on him. Isn't that right? Do I have that correct?
I'll Google search it.
Right,
Jerry. What do you think about this? And I do want to throw in my my.
I just put you on tilt.
Yeah, you did. I want to put my Henry Ruggs take out there in the air so it can come true. But Jerry, do you have anything on Alan's previous comment?
What does he have like a prison game coming up or something? What do you mean?
No,
your Henry Ruggs take?
You were right, by the way. They exercised his 5th year for 6
Okay, that's what I thought. So my Henry Ruggs take is like if you go to Player Profiler and look at Henry Ruggs and you look at Matthew Golden, both guys 5'11". One guy weighs 191 pounds. One guy weighs 188 pounds. One guy ran a 4.27. One guy ran a 4.29. Henry Ruggs was the first overall wide receiver in the class of 2020, and he went 12th overall to the Raiders. Matthew Golden going as the first wide receiver off of the board at 112 to the Dallas Cowboys. History repeats itself. Now, hopefully he does not go down to Dallas and go to the Rashee Rice Driving Academy, and he does a little bit better down there. But
that's still available, by the way. Plus 150 is still on the board.
I think you're solid there. I like the Genty call.
Yeah.
What kind of props are you seeing on like Omarion Hampton, first wide receiver off the board? You got him. What are the odds on say Luther Burden or Tet McMillan?
Yeah,
while you got him pulled up.
Just to give credit where credit's due, I had put a 14-1 bet on Genty to go to the Saints, but Eric Vanek over at South Harmon is the one that persuaded me that Genty could go 5th. So I just love the logic. So I put it. I bet it. But you're talking about like Hampton. I think the only Hampton bet you can make is like there's either a pick number or you could say what is the number? It's 2.5 running backs to go in the first round. Would you bet the under?
So that one I would go over because I believe that as we sit here today, Hampton and Genty are locks. Put Master on the side of them. They're locks. Those two guys are going in the first round. And I see a team, and I'd have to pull up the draft order. I could see Kansas City's drafted a first round running back before. So Jerry,
it backfired though. We talked about him earlier.
Yeah, CAEH. No, you looked at me like I was crazy. Or do you think there's no shot that the Commanders couldn't take Travion Henderson at 29? They couldn't take Quinshawn Judkins.
They could, I guess, but why? Like, just why? Is their situation that egregious? Their running back situation that egregious that they need to do it?
The Texans, who have had every day 2 running back come in for a visit, they couldn't start getting cold feet.
But like you still got Joe Mixon there. Like I know he's Joe Mixon. He's not super sexy or anything, but
he broke down quite a bit.
100%. I had a lot of him. I saw it. Believe me, lots of tears rolled down my cheeks.
Do you know which rookie is most comparable to Joe Mixon? Alan, do you know?
Which rookie?
Judkins. It's Judkins. Judkins is most comparable to. So if you're trying to maintain an offense of,
size wise, maybe,
so you can get plus money on that bet right now, guys. So if you want to take over 2.5 running backs in the first round, it's plus 180, right? And if you want to say under, it's minus 240. So the markets are saying less than, that'll be 2 and not 3.
All right, Alan, I'm going to put you on the spot as we wrap up here. I'm going to put both of you guys on the spot.
Rude.
Give us. I'll start with our guest. Give us your spiciest draft prediction. It can be a landing spot. It can be success. It could be anything. What's your spiciest dynasty? You can make it. You can tie it to dynasty, but NFL draft.
Yeah. So my bold prediction was going to be the Ashton Genty thing, to the Jaguars, but that's fine. But to give you another one, I'm going to say, one running back in the first round, Omarion Hampton falls to the second would be my spicy take. I could see it happening. I know Denver 20th to Denver seems like what everyone has him mocked at. So it would be somewhat of an upset. And, if I'm going to go a little extra spice, Jackson Dart, second quarterback off the board, although that seems to have cooled a little bit on the spice as well. It seems like almost more likely than not right now.
That sounds like a plus money bet. Like if you were to take the under like 1.5, I'm sure if you could find that on an alternate line out there, I would not be surprised. The problem with Hampton not going in the first round is just how little overall talent there is in this draft. That would be my pushback. Jerry,
it's a hot take, right? We said spicy take.
That's right. We want you to do the thing. Jerry, what is your spicy take for this NFL draft?
I don't really have any super spicy takes. I think Colston Loveland is going to be the first tight end off the board, which I think pisses a lot of people off. But it's not that spicy, though.
I think it's pretty spicy. Alan, how many mock drafts have you seen Loveland go ahead of Tyler Warren? And
only fantasy people doing mocks, not like NFL
McShay
people.
So Jerry's in a class all of his
mouth breathing basement dwellers.
Well, it's you ask for a hot take, Jerry gives you one, and then we shit on him. I mean,
well, that's it. He's been doing that for 8 years. What do you mean? That's what we always do.
Have you not listened to the show before? That's how this works. It's what we do. Mine is that there are going to be 4 first-round quarterbacks.
Whether out of here, Randy.
Whether you said spice, this is actual spice.
Is this Milrow? Is this a Milrow take?
It's got to be,
dude. It could be anybody. Right. But I could see teams in the second round. I could see Cleveland trying to get ahead of the Giants, trying to get ahead of, a lot of teams just trying to the Saints. The Saints will want a quarterback. I could see anyone as far back, maybe even the Jets at 42. All those teams could go, you know what? I want to go get Tyler Shuck. I want to go get Jalen Milrow. I want to go get blank. And I would not be surprised in a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that don't have a ton of actual draft picks and who have, a considerable amount of needs. Wouldn't it make sense for them to slide back 2, 4, 8 positions, pick up some extra draft compensation, and just go from there? I will not be surprised. I will say, if it is someone you're trying to catch what Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle with Jalen Milrow. You see the athlete, and we see coaches lie to us all in themselves all the time. I can fix him. Women do this with men. They're like, and men do this with women. They're like, you look at it like, she's beautiful, he's amazing, I can fix them. NFL coaches do this all the time. I can tell you, Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen thought they could do it with Anthony Richardson. So, Alan, what are your plans? No, what are you personally doing for the NFL draft? Are you just going to be like nonstop? When's your first draft? Give us some what's going on for you next Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, so Thursday, I'll just be like facilitating all the video stuff, making sure it gets out on time, goes to the right spot. So very busy on Thursday as far as just like behind the scenes stuff. I'll be on the Player Profiler stream on Saturday, sometime in the afternoon. I have to check the schedule, but Podfather asked me to come on for a few minutes. I'll come on and hang with you guys and the rest of the crew down there. And then other than that, man, I just enjoy watching. I try to get some air, right? Like once we get to the third round, I'll just what's great about YouTube TV, guys, right? You could just put it on like on your phone and just ride your bike or whatever. So I won't miss a second, and I love checking out all the streams. I know that Player Profiler have their stream, Rotowire have one on Twitter. There's the Destination Debbie guys, the South Harmon guy. I just like going from stream to stream, checking them all out, seeing everyone's reactions, and then I'm assuming those drafts are going to kick off the minute like the thing is over. I'm going to start hearing like the little sleeper notifications.
Well, I'll share one with you. A tale as old as time. I'm in one. It's an older league. The Podfather was in it at one time. It's the Ultimate Dynasty Podcasters League, and it's probably 10 years old. It's got the nerds in there, the guys from the DTC.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those, I don't have any idea how I wound up in there, except for Izzy and those guys. Tyler Gunther, Dynasty Happy Hour. He liked me, so he drugged me in years ago. Every year you can set your watch to it. Every year it's like, hey guys, the draft is going to start Sunday night at 8 p.m.
I like that.
And without fail, it's like, hey guys, what do you think about no clock, but we'll start at 6 p.m. on Saturday night?
Oh, you're saying keep pushing it up.
You can bank on one of the other guys in there to go, and everyone of course says, sure, we just don't turn the clock on right away. But here's the even funnier part: the clock's not on,
and people say, hurry up and pick.
Well, that and picks like picks like 1 through 8 or 1 through 10 are automatically like done within like the first 3 or 4 hours of the draft. Then you start getting the guys that are like, hurry up, and everybody else is like, we're waiting. But guys, we don't have to wait any longer. Please check out Alan. Please check out Rotowire. They do a bunch of amazing stuff. I'm going on there in a couple of weeks. We'll be discussing rookies and a couple others. And what we got to do is we got to get Jerry. Jerry's an international man of mystery. We got to get Jerry on like more satellite posts, and we got to get him on some other shows. More Jerry is always a good thing.
Well, Jerry knows I'm a huge fan. He knows I'm a big fan.
Everybody loves Jerry. That's why he's the man of the hour and the man with the power.
In addition to being a likable guy, Jerry, I think he listen, you like how we're talking about you like you're not here? No, I think you have a good personality. I enjoy your friendship, but I think you have a very logical approach to this whole thing, and you're very knowledgeable about it. There's a lot of times where I often say to myself, like, what did the WarZone guy say? And I say, what is Jerry saying? What is Memphis saying? You guys are doing a great job. I really do like your show a lot.
Well, I appreciate that a ton, and we appreciate Player Profiler for streaming us, but make sure you follow our YouTube channel as well. We've got Big John McGlynn. He's brought the Dynasty Evaluation Show over to our network. Yeah. Because of his work schedule, he works a unique schedule. He's like, he can't do every Sunday.
A go-go dancer? What do we mean, a unique schedule?
He is he's a male dancer.
Yeah.
At a little Copacabana.
I would pay for that.
He's a high-end mechanical engineer, but he works for a place, and they work 12s and they work 4 on and 4 off. But John's on our show. We have the guys from the Dynasty front office. Now they're usually every Thursday on YouTube, and then the podcast drops on Saturday, unless I'm terrible at my job. And then sometimes it's Sunday, but you never know. But please check us out. Follow Alan at Alan Seslowsky on X. Follow Jerry at JerrySendDWZ. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. And remember, guys, here at the Dynasty WarZone, we're just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. We'll see you next.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.